Day 34. Channeling from Source. Breathe and relax to the presence of your being, enjoying you, being you, just accepting you in every way. And we know that this is going to get your mind going. For most of you, most probably, the mind doesn't easily relax in the land of the beyond. This is a place of the heart, the beautiful heart that is your portal to your inner essence, the place where you can open to everything with no judgment. Total acceptance. Today we're going to answer a question, and there will be a few more in the next few days around some specific issues that Nadej has been asked. A very interesting one on your planet is a story that still not many people know of. A lot of people understand the Ho'oponopono. They don't know the story of Dr. Hugh Len. And that is a very interesting story which opens up many doors. So as it goes, Dr. Hugh Len started working for a hospital which had been looking for somebody for a long time, couldn't find anybody to be in charge of a specific department in their hospital where people would come and not stay for long because it was so difficult to actually do the job. This was a department, an aisle, specific aisle in this hospital, which housed people that society calls challenging. And there were criminals, some of whom were quite dangerous. They were sedated, some of them were shackled. It was very difficult for the staff to engage with them, interfere with them. They were threatened. It was difficult to hold the staff to deal with them daily. All in all, it was extremely challenging. So Dr. Hugh Len accepted to take on the post with one condition, that he could apply and could deal with it his way. And so they accepted, and so he started working. And his work, unlike anything they had seen, was just to look at the files of the patients and work on them without physically seeing them. So initially a lot of people didn't understand and were quite dubious. But within a few months, they started seeing changes. They started noticing that the patients were different. And within a year or two, some of them didn't need to be sedated anymore. Gradually, they took the restrictions off, the shackles off. And within a few years, that aisle was empty. It obviously attracted quite a lot of curiosity. How could that have happened? Dr. Hugh Len's story then got out on the internet through the book of Joe Vitale, Zero Limits, and it reached millions of people. So what did he do? He cleaned himself. What does that mean? He applied the old traditional Ho'oponopono prayer, which goes like this: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. How does it work? He looked at a file and really felt within himself his own emotions, his own prejudices, his own limitations, his own traumas, his own circumstances, anything that would within him feel a little bit awkward, contracted, any type of reaction, he would, as he called it, clean it so that it was transmuted within him with this prayer. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And he went on saying that I love you, thank you is enough. And that's the story that you can find on your internet about that incredible man, that incredible doctor, practitioner who allowed this beautiful ancient ritual prayer to be known by so many. So there are so many questions that come up with this. Is this about forgiveness? Yes and no. Is this about love? Yes and no. Is this about connection? Yes and no. Let's unfold what this is about. This beautiful song realized that you are all one, that whatever happens in the world, in your environment, is a mirror, that whatever happens in the world is completely neutral, and that what you feel within is a reaction, is a relationship, you could say. Because as you relate to what goes on in your outside circumstances, you choose a thought, a particular point of view. And that point of view is what determines who you become in this relationship with that issue or with that person, with that memory. That's where he started. When looking at the files of these criminals, some of which were dangerous, obviously Dr. Hewlin had never killed somebody or tortured somebody or done any of this, yet he was aware of his own position, point of view, his own immediate judgment, his own reaction. And that's where he started cleaning, quote unquote. That's the terminology they use, as in transmuting himself to bring himself back into the point of neutrality, which is really that 0 point field where everything is possible beyond the paradigm of duality, good, bad, right, wrong. So as he brought himself back to that 0 point field, connecting through the power of his mind, of his heart, with his conscious choice and his imagination, because he wasn't with a person, he started impacting on the other one. That man was very spiritual, so it was working because on some level, known or unknown, there was a connection with the other person, and coming from a pure heart, you could say that the higher self of the criminal authorized that work to be done. When you start working with energy, the pure energies work in miracles, whereas the conditional, impure are limited and quite dangerous as they come back in a boomerang effect. So as you work from a pure heart, as we invite you to do with anything energetic, you can ask if you want for the higher self's authorization, permission from the other person. But as you do, What do you heal? You heal within yourself. The archetypes, which, as we spoke about a few days ago, are in all of you. These tarot cards, some of the archetypes, and many of your authors have spoken about these archetypes, and many of your psychologists, Carl Jung being one of the first ones talking about these archetypes. They're in you because you've inherited them through your ancestral lineage. Remember, your ancestral lineage goes back thousands of years. So as you start cleaning and balancing, we could say that's another word we are going to use, balancing, transmuting the energies. Really, again, we are limited by your vocabulary because the most precise would be revealing as you start clearing what is not truth, what is creation from an untruth, what we mean by creation from an untruth, creation based on the judgment, creation based on the limitation, creation based on condition, creation based on this world of matter, duality, where there is a cause and an effect, the lower aspects of creations, which is coming from the field because everything is creation, but is not expanded into the awareness of the field of infinite potentialities. It is collapsed into a specific wave function, as in it is conditional. This is the way. That's what it's saying. That's what we call a creation from an untruth. A creation from a truth is being open and letting, allowing the heart to merge with the quantum field and having no control on what is coming your way, but being the recipient, whereby your thoughts combined with your emotions, the power of your imagination, and your awareness, consciousness, all synergetically combined to create something which is the cause and has no effect. And it comes to you as a gift where you're able to receive a truth which might be new for you, stretching yourself beyond your comfort zone because you had no control over it, just an intense desire for curiosity, a desire for growth, desire for experiencing. That's the heart. That's what we mean. So as you can see, as you can feel, there's a big difference. And slowly but surely, Dr. Hugh Lane created a bridge between these two worlds of creation, the creation from an untruth to the creation from the divine truth. And as he consistently, with absolute faith, with purity, created daily that bridge, he was able to merge these two worlds, whereby the lower one becomes less solid, less real than the higher world of truth. And as he created that in him, he transformed and transmuted, he cleaned every tie, every connection, every bit of lineage, ancestral lineage, every connection, all of this in him. And he asked for forgiveness. He managed to liberate himself and offered that as an energetic prayer, which was so pure, so strong, that it had the same effect on the other person. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is not condoning what somebody did, as good or bad, as some of the deeds of these people were pretty cruel by the human levels. Forgiveness in his situation was to liberate himself of the emotional tie that his judgment or reaction still had on him, and cutting off that tie where there was no more emotional intensity given to that action, that issue, that circumstance, that person, that event, which again is very much what people manage to achieve, get to when they do some inner work about something that they were the victim of, and manage to lessen the emotional intensity to the point where they've literally reclaimed their power and the event has completely been drained of the emotion. It doesn't mean that it's not there in their memory. It doesn't mean that they're okay with it. Far from it. They don't have to agree with what was done to them, but they reclaim their power so that that event, that person, that memory has no power over them anymore. It doesn't trigger them. They do not feel in overwhelm. They have drained its emotional power to the point that it's just a memory. It's the past. And it's something that they might say was brutal and violent and unfair and unacceptable. But there's no more ties. They're not a prisoner emotionally of it. They've liberated themselves. That's what forgiveness is about. Highly misunderstood in your world. So that Ho'oponopono prayer is about I love you, bringing love as the fabric of that prayer, as the connection, as the relationship, as the merging with the divine power, the quantum field, feeling one. I'm sorry, realizing, saying that you are able to bring compassion, that there's an aspect of you that is needing compassion, or an event, or something in somebody in the world, something in the world, bringing compassion. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Bringing that liberation of forgiveness, of saying, I am choosing to not fuel this event, person, memory with any of my emotions anymore. I am free. Thank you. Bringing the attitude of gratitude as the same power as in the spiritual treatment, which finishes with, and so it is, which means it is done. It is done. It is done. I'm seeing it as complete. There's no other way. Bringing it into closure, completion, perfect integration. We are going to stop here for today. We love you beyond words, beyond worlds. Namaste.